I tee off at 7. Every morning. Rain or shine, market crash or market rally, I tee off at 7. Today the phone buzzed 4 times before I even picked up the club. 4 times. I didn't look. I never look before the first swing. That's the rule. My rule. I made it up 20 years ago, and it's the only rule I've never broken. The ball goes up, the world doesn't stop, it just waits for me to notice it again. I own 11 buildings. I used to know the number by heart back when it was 3, then 5, then 9, and somewhere around building 7 I stopped counting and started collecting the feeling instead. The feeling of a tower going up floor by floor while everyone underneath argues about whether it should exist at all. That feeling never gets old. The buildings do. The feeling doesn't. By the 3rd hole, my assistant caught up to me in a golf cart she was clearly not cleared to drive that fast. She had the tablet out before she even stopped. Headlines. Always headlines. Something about a new round of tariffs on imported steel, which is funny, because I own a company that imports steel and a company that makes steel, and technically I am now at war with myself, and technically I am winning, because both companies report to me. She asked what I wanted to say about it. I told her to say nothing yet. Silence is a strategy. Most people think silence is the absence of a plan. It is the plan. You let the noise build for 2 days, and on the 3rd day, whatever you say sounds like wisdom, even if it's the same sentence you would have said on day 1. 4th hole, my phone again. This time I looked. An article. Something about how a piece of software wrote a better quarterly earnings script than the team I pay $400,000 a year to write it. I read the whole thing standing in a sand trap. Nobody rushed me. Nobody ever rushes me. That's the actual luxury. Not the private jet. Not the tower with my name on the top 40 floors. It's that nobody in my life has ever once said, "Hurry up." I thought about the machine writing the script. I thought about it for exactly as long as it took to hit the ball out of the trap, which is to say, not very long, because thinking too hard about the future is how you 3-putt the present. But here's what I did think. The machine doesn't golf. The machine doesn't understand why a man stands over a small white ball for 4 full seconds before hitting it a distance he could walk in 90. The machine would call that inefficient. I call it Tuesday. We built a tower once with no windows on the north face. The architect said it was a mistake. I said leave it. People still ask why. I never answer. A mystery is worth more than an explanation. That's not a business principle I read somewhere. That's just true, and I noticed it was true. And I've been charging people to notice it ever since. By the 6th hole, the assistant was back, this time with numbers. Inflation ticked up again. Eggs cost more than they did last spring. Somebody on television was blaming somebody else on television, and both of them were, in some roundabout way, blaming me, which happens more often than you'd think for a man whose primary daily activity is hitting a ball into a hole 4 inches wide. I don't buy eggs. I want to be honest about that because honesty, used sparingly, is the most expensive thing I own. I don't buy eggs, I don't check prices, I don't stand in a store wondering if the number on the shelf matches the number in my head. But I understand, in the way a weatherman understands rain without standing in it, that somewhere out there a family is doing math at a kitchen table that I have not sat at in 11 years. I understand it. I even feel something about it briefly. The way you feel something about a country you've flown over but never landed in. Then the phone buzzed and it was gone. Rally tonight. 7,000 people. Folding chairs. A stage built in 4 hours by a crew that could build a stage in 4 hours because I've paid them to practice building stages in 4 hours for a decade. I don't write what I say up there. I used to. Now I just walk out and let the room tell me what it needs. A room is smarter than any speechwriter. A room has 7,000 nervous systems all leaning the same direction, and if you stand still long enough, you can feel which way they're about to lean next, and you say that thing half a second before they knew they wanted to hear it. That's not lying. People think that's lying. It's listening, just faster than anyone's used to. Somebody in the 8th row held up a sign about the tariffs. I read it from the stage. I always read the signs. It's the only real-time poll I trust. The sign said something about the price of a truck going up $4,000. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's false. I know that by the time I finished my sentence about American steel and American hands and American pride, the man with the sign was cheering, sign still in his hand, no longer reading it, just holding it like a flag. That's the whole trick. Nobody in that stadium wants a policy memo. They want to feel like the tower is still going up. Doesn't matter which tower. Doesn't matter whose name is on it. As long as somewhere, something with their fingerprints on it is getting taller, they'll stand in a folding chair for 2 hours in October and cheer for a man who has personally never once stood in a line for anything since 1987. After the rally, back on the plane, phone off, finally the 1 hour a day it's off, I thought about the machine again. The one that wrote the earnings script. Somebody asked me on a podcast last month if I was worried about it. Worried it would take my job. I told them the machine can write my speeches. The machine can run my numbers. The machine cannot golf badly in front of 7,000 people and turn the bad shot into the best story of the night. The machine has no bad shots. That's its whole problem. Perfection doesn't sell tickets. A man recovering from his own mistake in real time, that sells tickets. I landed at 11. Missed the news cycle entirely. Woke up to 40 new headlines, half of them about the tariffs, a quarter about the rally, and one, buried near the bottom, about a tower I hadn't thought about in 6 months, finally clearing its final inspection. That one made me happier than the other 39 combined. Nobody wrote a headline about how happy that made me. Nobody ever does. The quiet wins never make the paper, only the loud ones. I've made peace with that. Mostly. Here's the thing nobody tells you about running an empire built on chaos. The chaos was never actually chaos. Chaos is what it looks like from the outside, to people scrolling past it at 1 in the morning, phone light on their face, wondering how any of this makes sense. From the inside, it's a golf swing. Same motion every time. Address the ball, read the wind, trust the follow-through. The ball goes wherever it wants once you've let go of the club, and you walk toward it like you knew all along, because by the time anyone's watching, you did. Tomorrow there's another round of tariffs to not comment on for 2 days, another tower inspection somewhere, another rally in a city I'll land in for 6 hours and leave feeling like I built it myself. There's a phone that will buzz before I wake up and keep buzzing long after I've stopped listening. And there's a tea time. 7 a.m., rain or shine. The world will still be burning when I get there. It's usually still burning by the 9th hole, too. I've stopped checking. Turns out the fire doesn't need my permission to keep going, and the ball doesn't need my permission to go up. It just does. Every single morning, 7 a.m., club in hand, world on fire, and somehow, by the 2nd hole, they're both still standing.